name is John Myatt. In my time, I've been a teacher, a painter, and an art forger. In 1999, I was jailed for forging over 200 paintings, a crime that rocked the art world, and I paid the price for it. These days, I paint in the style of the great masters and sell them legally as honest fakes. And I've started teaching the tricks of my trade to aspiring artists because all painters can learn by copying others. Today, my three artists will be painting in the style of one of art's greatest and most tortured talents, Van Gogh.
Looking a bit clown-like.
You've got to get behind this thing. You've got to give me some of that in order to get some of this. Today, I'm at Ingestry Hall, an art school just down the road from where I live in Staffordshire. Here I'll be teaching 3 students to paint a self-portrait in the style of one of history's most influential artists. When you hear the name Vincent van Gogh, do you think mad genius? Well, if you do, you're not alone. Vincent van Gogh's life was beset by early failure, by personality difficulties, and an adult diagnosis of insanity. Yet, despite all this, he has become, in legend, one of the world's greatest ever artists. In 1880, aged 27, Van Gogh announced to the world that he would become a professional artist. Inspired by the Impressionists' use of colour, he was determined to take things just one step further. He experimented with even bolder colours and intense, broken brushstrokes. These techniques became the hallmarks of post-Impressionism. And Van Gogh became its undisputed master. At first glance, Van Gogh's manner might appear to be quite easy to achieve. But if the students are really to succeed here today, they're going to have to create a feeling of spontaneity, coupled with an informed choice about the use of colour. So, a word to the wise then. Don't go underestimating Vincent van Gogh. Today's students will have to get to grips with the vibrant brushstrokes of Van Gogh.
My name's Irene Franklin. I live in Redditch in Worcestershire, and I'm a passionate amateur artist.
My name's Maria Mallender. I'm from Lichfield and I'm currently an art student.
My name's Carl Thompson. I'm from Coventry. I'm an engineer, but I'm also a passionate airbrush artist.
I've only been painting for 2.5 years, although I think most of my life I've been painting in my head.
Yes, I do feel quite nervous. It's very unknown and I should imagine it will feel quite pressured on the day.
No matter what style I was given or what artist I was given, I see it as a challenge, and I'm quite looking forward to that. I can't think of anyone particularly I'd be worried about doing.
The question is, will this artistic journey prove too much for them? So, Carl, Irene, Maria, your challenge today is to paint a self-portrait in the style of Vincent van Gogh. How do you feel about this as a task?
Fabulous.
Really? Oh, good for you. Well done. You think it's achievable?
I'll give it my best.
Good. Well done.
Well, I felt really excited. I just love the movement of his brushes. Everything expresses energy and life, and I just think it's wonderful. So I can't wait to have a go.
Look at the format. It's just straightforward, isn't it? It's head and shoulders. This is not rocket science. There's nothing particularly challenging in the way he's actually set out the painting. But the draftsmanship, the care, and the almost anatomical knowledge of the skull beneath the skin, that is really good, isn't it? What are your feelings here, Maria?
Well, I've only ever sort of done a sketch portrait of myself. It's such a long time ago, and it was hideous and I hated it, and I've never really been tempted to do it again, so it'll be an interesting procedure for me to do. Here we are in 1889. He's in the asylum at Saint-Rémy. He's painting one painting per day, at least. Now, this fits in rather nicely with your challenge, because you've probably got about 6 hours or so, probably less, to do this work, which is pretty much what he had.
I think I can achieve something in this style of Van Gogh. It'd be interesting to see applying paint with a paintbrush rather than an airbrush, which I do at the moment.
So your challenge today then is to try to get in touch with the intense inner you, and you've got just one day to do it. So off you go. Before my students can embark on today's challenge, they need something to paint. That's it, Maria. Let's get those mirrors out. Right, I'm going to put this here so it's right in your eye line so you can see it. Anytime you want to, just come up straight here and have a look at it. Adjust the mirror so the relationship to yourself, the mirror and the canvas is exactly the way you want it. As close as we can to that format, please. Either with your pencils or your brushes, I don't care which one. Let's just rough in the general oval shape of your face and neck and shoulders. Generally speaking, in the face, the eyes come halfway down between the top of the head and the tip of the chin. Keep that in mind if you can. Probably you can see it here. If we split this face in half, we could probably say this distance is that distance again. So that nearly, actually just, I think within possibly looking slightly lower. So let's say that's halfway. That takes us to the tip of the beard there. I won't change. And that takes us to the top of the head, exactly from the pupil of the eye, halfway down.
Carl's not hanging about. He's already got stuck in with the paintbrush.
Well done, Carl. A brave move. Very good. Happy?
I work from photographs.
Okay.
So it's and I've never sketched with a paint before, so I thought I'd try it. Have a go. You know, it's nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say.
I think the ideal lesson to be learned from working from photographs is if you work from photographs in conjunction with working from life, you really get a great result. But if you work exclusively from photographs, sometimes just this hint of sterility just creeps in somehow.
Yes.
Just to sharpen the old hand, I think, it might be, you know, just sit down in front of a packet of cornflakes or something and just draw it.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is a great exercise for you.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you're doing well here. Right, you've got 5 minutes left to establish your likeness in outline.
I probably struggle with timing and having to walk away if I'm not happy with how the work is finished.
My feeling looking at you is that your face is actually slightly taller than you. You've got a kind of...
A perfection.
I would give her a bit more on top, as it were.
Let's leave them to finish their outlines while I show you a trick I've learnt about restoring brushes.
Well, if you've got a brush and you've really fallen in love with it, like I have with this little chap here, but it's seen better days, and you want to restore the point, sometimes it's a good idea to get a bit of kitchen towel, squirt it, get it nice and moist, and leave your brush overnight wrapped up in the kitchen towel like that, nice and tight, nice and tight. And in the morning, when you come down, you'll find the point will be restored. In the end, of course, you can only do this so many times and then you have to give up and get another brush, but it does keep things going for quite a bit longer. There you go. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do now is what I think Vincent would have done himself. I want you to mix a large, and I do mean large, quantity of colour. This is about an inner journey that you're going to undergo using paint as an expressive means to get to the end of the journey. So if you're feeling in a yellow mood today, yellow it is. If you're feeling in a blue mood today, blue it is, red it is, pink it is, whatever colour it is, make that decision now.
I presume I'm going to be told, oh, you can't do any more with that, you can't do any more with this, and I'm going to have to stay awake.
Are we heading towards chrome yellow here, by the looks of it, which is kind of orange colour?
Yes.
Well, then we're going to need lots and lots of it, because we're going to put it on thickly. You know, and you're going to charge that brush, and we're going to see every brush mark you make. So we want lots and lots of it. Well, can I suggest we just go for the background in one go now? Are you conscious of a light source anywhere? That's lovely. That's just beautiful, confident stuff.
Yes, it's highlighted.
So this side of your face is lighter and this side is darker. Now with a very small brush at some point, could you just soften some of these transitions? May I just try and show what I mean? So it might be interesting just to start softening these areas, just go, touch like that, to finding the shadows where they are at their most intense. Here and here around your eye. And then down, it's almost one across the nose and sort of a bit down here as well. But if you just touch those moments in, where you find it, yeah, with that colour, then we can always darken it. What's going to be our background colour here, Irene?
I was going to put the yellow and the orange and...
So we're having an orange background, are we? Or a yellowy, orangey, that colour?
Yeah.
Can we just get it on?
Oh, okay.
I think the important thing now is to, as quickly as we can, let's get rid of the white canvas. That's the stuff. That's it. We can put the kind of swirling things in later on if we want to, but let's just get rid of that white.
Despite being a genius, Van Gogh hardly enjoyed any recognition or success during his lifetime.
Today, Van Gogh's paintings sell for millions of pounds, but back then he was more or less penniless and entirely dependent on his art dealer brother Theo for funds, and indeed for rescuing him from one scrape after another. His relationships with women were characteristically tortured. He either set about rescuing women from sin and squalor and misery, or he elevated them onto this great pedestal, fell in love with them and suffered all the pangs of unrequited love. He drank and he smoked heavily, and by 1888 it was quite apparent that he was being tortured by mental illness. His brother Theo said it was like living with two different people, one gifted, pleasant, kind, thoughtful, the other vicious, selfish, horrible and unpleasant.
I'm disappointed with the students' progress so far. I think it's time to gather the troops.
Can you just have a quick look, everybody, please? Maria has indicated in a darker version of this background colour the shadows that she's seeing on her face. We haven't gone into too much detail here, but here we have a darker version of this colour there to actually articulate the shape. I want one more colour, your choice, but what it has to do is to cover the whole area, everything.
We're getting rid of the white, whereas I would just sort of focus on the colour that I see there and then, and I'd mix it as I went along. This is totally different for me, really.
I'm finding Carl especially frustrating. He's used to working from photos and can't seem to relax into painting from life.
You've got your light source all worked out, have you?
Yeah, the light source is from this side.
Right,
so
we'll just put it on and see how it goes. Go on, go on, go on. Show me what you're going to do. Come on.
There we go. Let's have a go. Let's put a bit in there.
Good, OK, that's the right colour. While you're doing this, Carl, remember that he actually used the brushstrokes directionally.
Yeah.
It's not too soon to think about this. I know we'll do that at the later stage as well, but he is using the brushstrokes directionally down here over the kind of you know, eyebrows.
Okay.
So as you apply the colour, try and apply it sort of structurally to the face.
Right.
Okay, I'll leave you to it.
Interesting. The more I get into the picture, I've got a feeling that I might get a bit more concerned with where I'm going. There's a halfway stage where it's not finished, and you've started it, and there's always this always tends to be a mental block, which a lot of artists have.
My students are still not managing to find the passion that shaped Van Gogh's extraordinary paintings and destroyed most of his friendships.
Van Gogh spent much of the last 2 years of his life in the south of France. He set up a studio there and invited his friend and fellow painter Paul Gauguin to come and share it with him. Before Gauguin's arrival, Van Gogh decorated Gauguin's room with large paintings of sunflowers, which today, of course, are world famous. The two drank and painted together, but argued constantly. And in the end, Van Gogh drew a knife on Gauguin, who just stormed out. Van Gogh fell apart with guilt, and he took a razor to his earlobe, cut it off. The local citizens petitioned the mayor to have him removed from the streets, and he committed himself to the local lunatic asylum in Saint-Rémy, where he recovered somewhat. but after this he was never fully to recover his mental equilibrium. Right, now can I just have your attention for a minute here? You have to say that even without a beard, one of the most important parts of Vincent's painting is his hair. Because if you take his hair out, in fact, this is where all the dark moments are. So we've got a hint of green colour here, which we find sort of related down here, browns defining the edge here, and warm colours at the front, and darker tones the side. So can I ask you, please, ladies and gentlemen, will you please indicate hair now?
I wanted to paint warm colours, but at the moment doing it in this style, they're looking a bit frighteningly warm, but I'll be able to moderate them as it goes on, looking a bit clown-like, but I haven't given up hope.
I think, Carl, just a tiny bit more intensity in the actual way the paint leaves the brush.
Yeah.
I just want to see, it's a bit early to talk about agitation, but I would like to see a sort of sense of, you know, just getting in there and doing it.
Right.
And, see it, make a decision, do it. If we're trying to think like him, then we'll have to try and think of a kind of an emotional state, and we'll have to think of some urgency as that paint leaves that and goes on to that.
Right.
And I'm not quite seeing that yet.
Okay. Oh dear.
Right, that's it. I've had enough.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to give you a bit of a talking to now. So can you just pay attention for a few minutes? What we're looking at here is a balance between control and passion. Agreed? Yeah. There is passion in this painting, isn't there? There is passion in this painting. And there's passion in the way that the paint is applied, and there's control in the way that it's drawn. Now, Carl, you've got the control, but we've still got white ears and white eyes. I'm getting passionate, but I have to control my passion because I want you to do what I want you to do. It's no good me coming up and beating you up. You've got to get behind this thing. You've got to give me some of that in order to get some of this. And it's not there yet, is it?
No.
Doesn't it make you realise how good he was? Look at it. I mean, it's just brilliant. If he could actually, by the miracles of, you know, computer animation, get up, grow a body and some legs and stand behind your painting, Carl, what would he say?
Oh dear.
Get on with it, is what he'd say. Get on with it. Just please mix me some thick paint and put it on.
Okay. Oh, obviously he's got some issues with the way I'm perhaps approaching this. I think I have. It's just extremely difficult for me to break out of how I paint. I'm very precise, and this is very unprecise for me, and it's proving extremely difficult. I thought it was going okay, but obviously not.
Well, after that, I think I need to take a break. Well, I've given the students my advice loud and clear. I'm just hoping they've taken it on board.
It's after John's statements, I decided to be a bit more bolder, try and inject a bit of passion.
Well, Maria rather, it's changed a bit since last time. I think there's a unity coming. It's actually this that's helping to unify the whole surface for you.
Yeah.
And I think if you can just keep that in mind as you head down towards the finishing post, 10 minutes away, then
Okay.
we'll have a result.
Jolly good.
I always feel when I've started on a painting, I know what I'm going to do and I start applying colour and I'm thinking, you've lost. And then it starts to come back home again. Hopefully.
Irene,
Yes, John.
how are we doing?
I'd like another few hours on it. I think.
Another few hours? Well, you haven't got another few hours. I think we've got something here. We've got a sense of drama here, haven't we?
I hope so. Well, I still think she looks funny, but I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
Well, Carl, did I give you a fright?
I've had worse.
You see, this is a lovely, lovely bit of work. You'll take it away and Mrs. Carl and yourself will treasure it forever. But if this is an exercise in getting into Vincent's area, I think you will understand something about him when all this is over.
I think the students are finding this exercise really tough.
OK, everybody, time's up. Put those brushes down. It's time to have a look at what we've got. Right, Carl, the moment I know you've been waiting for, your painting in all its glory. Here we go. Now, what do you think?
I'm pleased in the fact that I've been able to do a reasonably good sketch of myself, which is it's one of the first times I've ever tried to do that from life.
I mean, if a portrait has a function, or a self-portrait has a function, it is actually to look something like the person who is looking into the mirror. That does that job. So you've got evidence of good draftsmanship, you've got evidence of good control, the composition is very sound. Does it look like a Van Gogh? No.
And that's what I found. It's the fine line between being free and in control. And I was frightened to go out of control. I appreciate what he was saying, although why he picked me out as some special case, I don't know. Perhaps it was just a bad day for him. But I took his comments on board, and I thought I acted against those.
Well, Maria. So, what do you think about the work you've done today?
I feel a little frustrated. I would have liked at least another hour on it. I was just getting there. I was just getting into the passionate essence of it that you've been talking to us about today.
It's got all the signs of a painting that is actually within sight of the finishing line, but just needs a little bit further to go. We've found, you know, the colours are resonating across the canvas surface. This energy at the back somehow or other does seem to focus the eye here on the face. This is a good likeness of you, I think. Perhaps looking a tiny bit more serious. Pensive is good. Anyway, what a result, and well done.
I've surprised myself really, because I didn't think I'd want to do a self-portrait. It's a bit of a horrendous concept to start with, but I feel that it's gone well.
So, Irene, the moment of truth, your painting in its frame. Here we go. What do you think?
I don't think it's very Van Gogh.
I don't think he would be in any way disappointed with this. This actually typifies one aspect of what he was all about. You never had a problem with putting the energy in. I think the problem was the other way around. It was just putting a bit more control in. You know, of the three students, you were the one who could possibly have been reined back a little bit. And you did. You had a lot of fun here. You've got an overall tonality. You've got the musical rhythm of the thing going on between this green, this yellow and this red. And there's just a few blue moments still remaining, which actually help as well. So I think, you know, there's a real understanding of what he was trying to achieve here.
Sounds wonderful.
And probably true as well.
I always think this is a good way of understanding an artist and their methods is by copying them. You learn a huge amount by doing that. So I could probably have another go and, you know, I might flog you a Van Gogh one day.
Well, Irene, thank you very much indeed. Thank you, and thank you all of you. Wonderful day's work. Super.
Thank you very much.
Today, my three students have been asked to use colour to express their inner selves. Personally, I think all three paintings are slightly wide of the mark. It's always the case with Van Gogh that there's this balance between passion, urgency and control. Passion and control. This is what I find when I paint in this style. Now, if any or all of the three students have come anywhere near this feeling, this balance, then for me personally, it has to be mission accomplished.
In my mind, Irene got closest to the essence of Van Gogh, but whether she produced the best painting, well, that's a different matter. That's for you to decide.